Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw a deer. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the front part of the body. An easy way to draw a circle is to first make a couple of small marks to indicate the circle's height, and then on the sides make a couple more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then just connect the small marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. You don't have to draw a perfect circle, but if you're having trouble drawing one, just trace the outer edge of a coin, a bottle cap, or anything else with a circular edge. To the right, draw a curved line as a guide for the back portion of the body. This is technically another circle that's hidden behind the first circle. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also, pause the video as you follow along to draw at your own pace. On the top left side, draw a smaller circle as a guide for the head. Make this circle about 1/4 the size of the first circle. Don't draw this circle too high up or the neck will be too long. Inside the head circle, draw a horizontal line for a construction guide. Above that, draw a short vertical line for another construction guide. On the bottom half of the head, draw a small circle as a guide for the muzzle. Pay attention to the size of the muzzle in relation to the head. On the sides of the head, draw long curved lines as guides for the ears. Each ear should be similar to an arc on its side. Make the ears big in relation to the head. On the top left side of the head, draw a long angled line as a guide for the first antler. Draw the line going to the left and then bend it up. To the right, draw another long angled line as a guide for the other antler. Try to make both antlers the same size. Draw short lines where the guides bend for branches on the antlers. Don't make these lines too long. At the bottom, draw 2 more short lines for more branches on the antlers. Connect the head to the body using 2 lines to create the guide for the neck. The shape of the neck should be wide. Under the front part of the body, draw a long vertical line as a guide for the front leg. This line should be long in relation to the body. To the left, draw a long angled line as a guide for the other front leg. Below the back portion of the body, draw another long line as a guide for the hind leg. Tilt the bottom of the leg to the right. To the left, draw another angled line as a guide for the other hind leg. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, lightly sketch 2 small circles for the eyes. Draw the eyes on top of the horizontal construction guide and close to the edges of the head. The eyes should be big in relation to the head. When you get the sizes and positions of the eyes right, darken the shapes. Make the sides of the eyes pointier as you darken the shapes for the corners of the eyes. Make the edges of the eyes thick and dark. Inside the eyes, draw short lines for the pupils. Draw a series of short curved lines around the eyes for creases. These lines will give the eyes structure. Inside the muzzle, lightly sketch a small square-like shape for the nose. When you get the size and position of the nose right, add in the details. Draw a couple of curved lines on the sides for the nostrils. Darken the top part of the nose using a wavy line. Draw a couple of shorter lines at the bottom. Under the nose, draw a horizontal line for the mouth. Make the line for the mouth wider than the nose. Below the mouth, draw a curved line for the chin. Draw this line along the basic path of the initial circle. Draw the rest of the muzzle along the path of the initial circle too. Make the muzzle more square-like than the guide. Darken the arc on the top left side for the first ear. Draw a line within the shape for the ear's opening. Use the arc on the right side as a guide to draw the other ear the same way. Use the angled lines on the top left side of the head as guides to draw the first antler. Darken the long line to create the outer edge of the antler. Draw more lines along the paths of the guides to make the shape of the antler thicker. At the top, draw an extra long thin shape for another branch. Make the tip of each branch thin and pointy. Use the lines to the right as guides to draw the other antler the same way. Darken the lines and add the branches along the path of the guides. It's okay if the two sides aren't perfectly symmetrical. Add an extra long thin shape at the top for another branch. You can make the antlers bigger and add more branches if you'd like. Draw the shape of the head along the basic path of the initial circle. Make the sides of the head more angular than the guides. Use the second line from the left that's under the body as a guide to draw the front leg. First, lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Make the top of the leg wide and gradually make it thinner toward the bottom. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Curve the lines as you darken them to create the muscle structure. Keep the edges of the leg close to the guide so that the overall shape is thin. The top of the leg should be inside the body. Make the bottom of the shape flat for the hoof. Use the line to the left as a guide to draw the other front leg. Lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Make the top of the leg wide and gradually make it thinner toward the bottom. Curve the bottom of the shape to the right to indicate the leg stepping forward. Curve the lines as you darken them to indicate the joints and muscle structure. Make the bottom part blocky for the hoof. Use the long line on the far right side as a guide to draw the hind leg. Just like with the front legs, first lightly sketch the shape of the hind leg around the guideline. When you get the shape of the hind leg right, darken the lines. Make the top of the leg wider than the bottom. Curve the lines to create the joints and muscle structure. Draw a couple of short angled lines at the bottom for the split hoof. Use the angled line to the left as a guide to draw the other hind leg the same way. Lightly sketch the hind leg around the guide and only darken the lines when you get the shape right. Bend the leg near the middle to indicate the joint. Use the remaining shapes and lines as guides to draw the rest of the body. Darken the neck using a series of short angled lines to create a furry texture. Simply darken the outer edges of the guides to create the shape of the body. Don't overlap the front leg as you draw the underside of the body. Make the lines angular for the bony structure. The tail won't be visible from this angle. Now go over the final lines with permanent ink. The next few steps are sped up so that the video isn't too long, but make sure that you go over your final lines slowly and carefully to avoid any accidents. Don't ink the initial guidelines, only the final drawing. When the ink dries, erase all of the guidelines. Make a few lines darker to emphasize the shapes. Now color your drawing. Use different shades of brown to color the entire body. I'm using markers to color, but you can use colored pencils too. Start coloring using light shades of brown first and then gradually move on to darker shades. Make the head and neck slightly darker than the rest of the body. Use darker shades of brown to create shadows throughout the body. Slowly and gradually blend the colors together. Use a bit of blue at the bottom to create snow on the ground. Add more ink to emphasize the final lines. Coloring can be time-consuming, so be patient and take breaks. Keep coloring until you're happy with the result. And that's it for the deer. Remember to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com for more tutorials. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying my books on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. Let me know in the comments what else you want to see me draw. Don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.